Hey teachers, ready for a deep dive that'll make teaching probability way more fun.
We're breaking down Greedy for Probability, a game that's got me pretty excited.
It's like a cheat sheet for your classroom. I've got lesson plans, instructions,
No.
even some extra
Yeah,
notes.
so you can really nail this game.
Let's jump right in. What is greedy for probability?
Well, it's more than just rolling dice and hoping for the best.
Yeah, I was looking at the instructions in the greedy for probability whole class game -1.pdf file.
It's about strategy too, right?
Exactly. Pick a target number, roll the dice, then calculate the sum or product.
And then the big decision.
Keep your points or go for more. That's where the greedy part comes in.
Exactly. And of course, there's the risk.
Oh, yeah. Snake eyes roll a 2 and poof, your score for that round is gone.
It's that risk and reward thing that really hooks the students.
And it connects to real life, too, like
Mhm.
investing or even calling a risky play in a game.
Big decisions everywhere.
And the best part, students are learning big math concepts without even realizing it.
The grade 6 lesson plan lays it all out.
Defining probability, calculating sums, and products making predictions.
Risk assessment using probability vocabulary, it's all there.
So sneakily educational. But how do we make this work in a real classroom?
Well, first things first, set those expectations right from the start.
Before you even bring out the dice.
Yeah. Talk about the learning goals and make sure everyone's on the same page, behavior-wise.
The lesson plan mentions, starting with a vocabulary warm-up.
Oh, that's key. Words like chance, likely, unlikely,
To
basic
make
stuff.
sure everyone's speaking the same probability language.
And the notes mention statistical questions. Those are important too.
Can you break that down for us?
Sure, it's about questions with a range of possible answers, not just a single right answer.
Like instead of what's 2 plus 2, it's what could you roll with 2 dice?
Exactly. That gets them thinking about possibilities.
So for greedy for probability, the statistical question could be, what's the most likely sum you'll roll to hit your target number?
You got it. It's not just about the math, it's about understanding how probability works in the game and in life.
Okay, this is already a gold mine of info, but what about differentiation? The notes talk about that.
Yeah. You got to have options for different learners.
Like what? Specific examples would be amazing.
Think of visual aids, number lines, multiplication charts, anything to help with calculations.
Oh, and maybe pair students up for support.
Exactly. And for students who need a challenge.
Push them to think about more complex strategies.
Yeah. Is there a best time to stop rolling? Does it change based on your target?
Make them analyze their results, look for patterns.
Exactly. Turn them into little probability detectives.
Okay, so we've got the game mechanics, the learning objectives, even some differentiation strategies.
What else? Don't underestimate the power of reflection after the game.
Not just pack up and move on.
Right. Take time for a discussion. What did they notice? What strategies worked? What surprised them?
That's where the aha moments happen.
Exactly. They connect the dots between the game and the bigger picture of probability.
Wow, this is fantastic. Feels like we've covered so much already.
And this is just the beginning. We've explored the core concepts of greedy for probability.
Unpack the learning objectives, offer some practical tips.
Stay tuned for part 2, where we'll walk through a sample round and analyze some winning strategies.
And don't worry, we'll make sure you know where to find all the game materials.
So you can start using greedy for probability in your own classroom. Welcome back. Ready to see greedy for probability in action.
Definitely. I'm a visual learner, so sample round would be awesome.
All right, let's say a student picks 7 as their target number.
Okay, got it.
They roll the dice and get, let's say, a 3 and a 5.
What happens next?
Well, it depends on the rule for that round. Let's say it's multiplication.
So they multiply the 3 and the 5.
Not quite. First, they add the numbers on the dice. 3 plus 5 equals 8.
Oh, okay.
Then they multiply that sum by their target number.
So 8 times 7.
You got it. That gives them a score of 56 for that round.
Wow, 56 points. Not bad. But then they have to decide to roll again or not right.
That's the moment of truth. Do they go for more points or play it safe?
I can just imagine the tension in the classroom.
It's all about weighing the potential reward against the risk of rolling snake eyes.
Ooh, yeah, that's a game changer.
It's a perfect way to illustrate how probability works in real life.
Making those tough decisions with incomplete information.
You can even guide them by asking, what are the chances of rolling a 2 next?
Love that. Connects the game to the concept.
Now, there are these greedy handouts mentioned in the materials.
Oh, yeah, what are those all about?
They're a way for students to keep track of their scores throughout the game.
Each letter in greedy is a round.
Exactly. It helps them visualize their progress, stay organized.
So in our example, they'd write their 56 under the G
Mm,
for round one.
right. And then they can compare scores with classmates, analyze their
This
strategies.
is like a mini record of their risk-taking.
And speaking of strategies, remember those discussion questions for ESL learners?
Yeah, those were really insightful.
They can actually benefit all students, not just ESL.
Really?
Oh, yeah. They break down complex ideas, help everyone connect the game to real life.
It's about making sure everyone feels included and supported.
Exactly. One question I love is, how can this game help you in other areas of life?
That's a good one. Gets them thinking beyond the classroom.
It does. And another one is, what happens if you roll snake eyes? Why is that rule there?
Oh, that's interesting. Makes them think about the consequences of risk.
So we've got sample rounds, greedy handouts, thought-provoking questions.
Now, what about actually using greedy for probability in the classroom?
Let's get into some practical tips for implementation.
Sounds good to me. Back for more. Greedy for probability. I'm ready to roll up my sleeves and actually use this game.
Me too. Let's talk implementation.
The grade 6 lesson plan really breaks it down step by step.
Before you dive into the game itself, you gotta build that foundation.
Yeah, the lesson plan says to start with a vocab warm-up.
Oh, that's crucial. Make sure they understand chance, likely, unlikely, all those terms.
It's like we said before, gotta speak the same probability language.
Don't just define the words, though. Make
Yeah.
it interactive.
Oh, I like that. Have them come up with examples, maybe create a probability scale.
Exactly. Get them thinking visually.
Then after the warm-up, it's time for a more formal intro to probability.
Yeah, that's where you solidify the concept. Explain that it's about measuring how likely something is,
Use real-world examples they can relate to.
like their favorite team winning or the chance of rain.
And don't forget about statistical questions. We talked about those earlier.
Right. Those are the questions with multiple possible answers.
The lesson plan gives some good examples to help clarify that concept.
Okay, once you've laid that groundwork, it's time to introduce greedy for probability.
The instructions in the Greedy for Probability Whole Class Math Game-1.pdf file emphasize modeling the game.
Absolutely. Don't just explain it, show them.
Walk through a sample round, show how to choose a target number, roll the dice, calculate the score.
And how to decide whether to keep rolling or not. That's a big one.
All right, so the game is set up, rules are clear, students are ready to play.
What about managing the actual gameplay?
Yeah, any tips for keeping everyone engaged?
Small groups or pairs work well. It's easier to support individual students that way.
And while they're playing, circulate around the room, observe, ask questions, provide encouragement.
And don't forget those probing questions we discussed.
Oh yeah. What's your strategy?
Yeah.
What are you thinking about when you decide to roll again?
Those questions get them thinking deeply about their choices.
And after the game, don't skip the post-game discussion.
So important. It's where you solidify the learning.
Bring them back together. Ask, what did you notice? Did you change your strategy?
You can even talk about luck. Did they feel lucky or unlucky at times?
Those conversations can lead to some amazing insights about probability in real life.
Now let's talk differentiation again. How can we support different types of learners?
We mentioned visual aids before, like number lines and multiplication charts.
And pairing students up for support,
For a challenge, you could have them research real-world applications of probability.
like how it's used in weather forecasting or sports statistics.
I'm feeling so much more confident about using Greedy for probability now.
It's a fantastic game, and with a little planning, it can be a powerful learning experience.
We've covered so much in this deep dive.
We have, from understanding the core concepts to implementing the game in your classroom.
We've given you the tools to make Greedy for probability a success.
So get out there and give it a try. Your students will love it.
You can find all the game materials online. Just search for Greedy for probability and you're all set.
Happy teaching, everyone!